Yo, what's up, guys? I finally had some time doing the skill tree revamp for leveling with Molten Strike. So, yeah, everything is still like the same old thing. You have everything down here in the manage tree section. You also have the the early items for leveling and the end game setup. Everything is still in there. I have some added notes as well for helping you farming currency and how to craft items. So yeah, let's talk about every single step, right? So, since they changed how Elemental Overload works, we have to crit with our skill or with our strike. That means our crit chance in the early game is way too low to proc Elemental Overload for early damage push, so we have to skip it. But Avatar of Fire is now next to the Marauder skill tree or starting location. So we're gonna grab up this Avatar of Fire, skipping the whole part up there. You can still go into precision, take the life, and take those divine fervor crit notes over here. It's still fine, it's still okay, but we can spend our points better, so we don't need so much respect points later on. So yeah, grab Avatar of Fire early on and grab Unwavering Stance. Unwavering Stance is really needed until the second lap because you don't want to be stunned, and the stun threshold is way lower now, so you will recognize being stunned on leveling or duty acts if you don't have Unwavering Stance. Just grab it, it's just at the starting location, all fine. Then go down to Lava Lash and grab some fire resistance. And keep in mind, the skill tree is based on playing with a sword early on. You can play Claw and Axe, that works early on, but then you have to adjust your points into the weapon you want to use. But usually swords are the best early on weapons since we are playing it with a Grey Root Shank later on. So skilling sword nodes and playing with swords is way better after you get a decent claw to reswap everything to claw. So yeah, this is just level 20, the first steps. Now we have our first lap. You're still gonna take Undeniable. You can take Unstoppable and then de-skill Unwavering Stance, that's fine, but I would take Undeniable to gain more damage or just more attack speed for your Leap Slam or for your Whirling Blades, so that you're way faster on the acts and have more damage to clear bosses. And since we have Unwavering Stance, it's just okay. Yeah, then we go from Lava Lash into Steadfast, taking the melee hits Fortify, so for more damage reduction, and grabbing the life over here in Bloodless. You also start up picking your accuracy nodes, because now we gain attack speed from our accuracy rating. Plus, the precision has 1% increased mana restoration efficiency, will help you a lot to have a big mana pool, or your mana pool is not that low with the Herald of Ash and Anger, etc. Then we're gonna go up into here. I skipped the part while leveling with the resistance over here. You can still do this if you feel like you have to do, but with the buffs to Purity of Elements and looking at your rest gear, it's maybe not needed. But if you feel you need this resistance, then you can still go up to the tree like before and picking those nodes over here. But those nodes over here are changed. They don't give you flat accuracy rating anymore, and that's why I wouldn't go in this way or at this location, because you don't get accuracy rating from it. Yeah. Then with also I mentioned here, it's still written down, get Tribal Fury, but I recommend just playing with Amethyst Call and don't care about Tribal Fury anymore, because Amethyst Call got buffed a little bit, so the damage negation isn't that hard, or it's a small buff at the end to the damage. And I don't want to swap out Amethyst Call and swap it in for mapping, etc. So just get your Hydrosphere for stacking on Hydrosphere on bosses. Just ask a friend playing the Witch class or Templar, I think, to buy Hydrosphere for you. Or go and clear the library and get Hydrosphere. It's a really big damage spike early on. So with the second lab, you will get your life and mana leech from this node. If you haven't bought a prismatic, a Thief's Summon Ring. So Thief's Summon Ring will just, then you don't need the life and mana leech, but Thief's Summon is the best ring early on for leveling, because such of the elemental resistance, the life gain on hit, the mana gain on hit, it's just the perfect sustain. So yeah, if you can't afford a Thief's Torment early on with Chaos Recipe, well, at this point you don't have a Thief's Torment anyway, and you can't do the Chaos Recipe anyway. But if you have a Thief's Torment, just de-skill this node, you don't need it. But early on, just skill it. It's our way to leech mana and life. Then, I will recommend buying Oscam gloves at level 52. Straight up, just buy it. It's, since we don't have Elemental Overload anymore in our tree, we don't profit from not doing or not having Oscams. So get Oscams, get your small crit chance. Yeah, it's just very small crit chance, but get it so you can have these curse nodes, Mark of Death, so you have Culling Strike. You can link Hydrosphere with Culling Strike, and the Hydrosphere will also Culling Strike the bosses. This also works, by the way. Then grab Point Blank. This is the biggest damage boost we have in the early game now. And grab some accuracy nodes over here. And since Toned Edge is gone and the commands of the elements or something like that, we can grab this node. This is also a new node called Lethality. Projectile attacks have increased critical strike chance and critical strike multiplier, and since Molten Strike isn't projectile attack, you will benefit from those nodes. You can grab this. You can also grab, I have it in the next, no, I just forgot it. You can also grab these nodes, Blade of Culling. If you play with a sword, those are really good early nodes as well. So, with the third lab, you will take Unflinching. You want to have our endurance charges and our bonus tankiness. And just all the basic stuff again. Primal Force with bigger exposure from your Wave of Conviction. Grab some sword nodes, like I said. Early on, be grabbing every sword node that is next to our skill tree and then reswapping to Claw. Also grab Acuity, since Acuity is really good now for us for the early on. Next step is when you are going to maps, pick any Storm Rider boots that's on the market in the early game. Just any with any decent stat or crappy stats, it doesn't matter. You want to have the flat added lightning damage, and with this one, after you got the Storm Rider boots, you want to have Trinity support. So grabbing Trinity support and leveling Trinity support in your offhand or in your weapon swap is really important, so you don't have a Trinity support level 1 when you're at level 80. Also grab Heartseeker, then go into Blood Drinker, it's a really good node, and grab Clever Thief. With Clever Thief, you really don't need those nodes over here, and Clever Thief will give you the attack damage, leeches life and mana, and also you get a little bit of life gain and mana gain on hit. That's enough to sustain your mana. And now I have skilled the Blade of Cunning. So yeah, this is the early tree just for mapping and going into maps. With level 90 or around level 90, you want to have your first sword clusters. So this one is just a 2-point cluster. Just Feed the Fury and Fuel the Fight are very good. These are strong leech mechanics. Then you can, if you have this, you can de-skill Clever Thief. But you can go with any damage nodes now, because you don't need Fuel the Fight and Feed the Fury if you have Clever Thief. So don't worry, just grab any sword, axe, or shield cluster ones. That will help you a lot. Veteran Defender is a very good node, giving you a lot of elemental resistance and fixing some of your attributes problems. Yeah. And that's basically it. That's just the normal early one. This is just, yeah, grabbing some murderous eye jewels with some accuracy. You can also deskill this. At level 90 when you're at maps, I would also recommend going for prismatic skin. And corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you. Then you will also start picking up dexterity, give you +1 more additional accuracy rating. It's a really strong node. And then just taking here the life nodes with increased maximum life, the +50 life. Take Soul of Steel for additional armor and additional all maximum resistance. Just like we had it before. Or was it? Or I was talking before on the last videos. Then after you swap to claw clusters, for sure you deskill any sword nodes. You're gonna deskill those points over here. Also you can deskill Lava Lash after we have Trinity support. And grab those nodes over here. This one is just, I just grabbed it. It's just nonsense. You don't need to grab this one. Yeah. It's just everything basically like it was, but it's now more in the direction where you can go. Then, items are still the same. Nothing changed over here. But I wrote something down for you. So, just like I said, get rid of Unwavering Stance after the second lap. Oz comes early on, any Storm Rider boots, and then you play with Trinity, and Greywood Shank is your biggest early investment you should take. So, then I have some notes for how to craft your gear, since there's about some changes and new fossils and stuff like that. So, some things changed, okay? Early on, you should grab, I'm not sure if I have added this, but I will add it after the video. Just grab any increased lightning damage shield with some life and resistance on it, or just any shield with resistance on it and some life, because Lion Ice Remorse is really expensive now, and yeah, don't take it anymore. Yeah, everything how you should craft is written down there. This one here is really important. So since they changed how the progression on the Atlas works now, and how easily you can spam from Cyrus, or how fast you can get Cyrus or Awakened level 8 now, you really need to fix your chaos resistance very early on. This is really, really important, because you don't have any problems with Awakened level 7 or 6 with El Hasmin, but Awakened level 8 El Hasmin with minus chaos resistance thanks to the Oscam gloves is something else, okay? It's really hard to be able. You can't kill El Hasmin. It's just no way with minus chaos res. So it's really, really. You need to fix your chaos res, okay? You need to fix your chaos res to some certain point to be able to kill El Hasmin. Like 20 chaos res is fine, but minus chaos res will always kill you on El Hasmin at Awakened level 8. So there are just two ways. Number one is just getting one with evil over here and grabbing those chaos res nodes over here, but then you have, normally you don't skill up this point in this section right away. So you would spend 2 skill points only to reach this location over here. So there's an easy way to fix this, and this is getting a small cluster. A small cluster with 3 passive chaos resistance, and fossil craft them, or just chaos or alt spam them until you hit some good life and chaos resistance. So a small cluster can easily give you like 60 chaos res, depending on the nodes you hit. You have 13 chaos res on the small nodes, and then if you craft some additional chaos res on it, you get 16 chaos res and some life. And with anti-venom you get 23 chaos resistance. So a small cluster is the way to go to fix your chaos resistance early on, really strong. And you should anoint, after you got a decent amulet, by the way, you should always anoint Cleansed Forts to double your positive chaos resistance, and you don't have to look how you should fix your chaos resistance at all, because Cleansed Throats will help you a lot with that. And yeah, it's a low investment, exclamation marks, since you need opalescence oil, I think a clear oil, and the golden oil. The golden oil is very expensive early on, so yeah. But fixing your chaos risk with small clusters will help you a lot to be able to kill Alasmine. Also, if you still play with Greatwood Shanks, getting Elder Rings with life gain on hit early helps a lot, or getting a Feast of Flesh small cluster. This will also gives you a lot life gain on hit and will help you a lot to sustain your life pool during combats. Also, Determination, if you don't play with Greatwood Shank and later on with Claws, or at any point of the game, Determination will help you a lot early on to be very tanky, since they change how Determination works now, or Determination will give you flat armor and percentage armor. So this means Determination is one of the best auras at the moment. So taking Determination will help you a lot. Later on in the late game, you will be able, or if you invest a lot with +1 Oscarms, 4 Enlighten 4, and nodes over here, then you will be able to get Determination into the tree as well. Also, you can pick this one up. This really helps you a lot for being much tankier. So Determination early on, also in the late game if you play with Claws later on, is really, really good. So if you have enough money, or if you want to spend more nodes into tankiness, you should definitely try to get Determination into your skill tree. For crit jewel crafting, only on Viridian jewels, because only those jewels can roll the accuracy nodes. And you go with just harvest and crit, or go with deft and pristine fossils and craft those jewels. I would recommend buying synthesis or fractured Viridian jewels with critical strike multiplier with fire skills, because those are mostly the cheap ones you can get out there, and it helps you having one stat you want and hitting the other stats you need. So yeah. And then I have wrote down something for early money strats, because I think most of you may be struggling with getting enough currency to progress this build or this character, because this character needs a lot of investment early on to be, or getting more and more damage, because we have a damage threshold about 1 to 2 million early with Greatwood Shank, and then with more investment into accuracy rings and stuff like that, you will have the big damage explosion coming in. But I think the most people just struggling having enough currency to progress this character. So I wrote down some of my money strats that I'm using. It's just basic simply the chaos recipe early on, just getting item level 64 to item level 76, I guess. And then if you have a whole collection of rings, belt, amulet, helmet, body armor, weapons, etc., boots, gloves, you can sell this and get, with unidentified items, 2 chaos back from the vendor. If you don't know what a chaos recipe is, just Google it. I'm sorry. And then what you should really do early on is stealthing. Just go and delve. And do Alva runs. And with this I mean you spend your Atlas points or your early Maven invitations to get the Alva nodes, and then you can set up a very good temple with a tier 3 Doriani, then the Sacrifice Room tier 3, or a tier 3 Corruption Chamber, and those one you can run later on yourself for double corrupting some items for profit, or selling those temples later on. Not early game, because in the early game most people don't need those special temples. Just like in day 3 and the day 5, they become more relevant and expensive. So Alva will give you a lot of profit if you run in yourself, or just selling her. That will Delve will give you a lot of profit with fossils and resonators early on. Since they changed how Delve now works, that you can go into deeper Delve stages with your character now, it will be easier to get the most out of your Delve nodes. Then I would also recommend spam farm Katarina, because if you have enough chaos resistance, or if you finally manage your chaos resistance, you can easily spam farm Katarina for devouring diadems, etc., or just items. And even if you don't set up on tier 4 rooms on Betrayal, only spam farming Katarina will help you. And the Hayborg Atlas points, or the Hayborg Maven invitation points, there's a node that will give you 10 intelligence for each map you completed. So after you completing a map, you will gain 10 intelligence for any syndicate safe house. And with this node, you can spam farm Katarina quite easily while you spam farming for harvest. So you can spam farm for harvest in Hayborg and do Katarina after you finish some spam farming for harvest. And Katarina items will sell like 20 chaos to 1x depending on the item and how early on you are in the game. So you will get something out of your Katarina spam farming. Also, what I recommend, and this is what I always do early on, as fast as possible, it's Ulap runs. So Juggernaut is one of the best early Ulap runners. So you should definitely buy some Offering of the Goddess and Twice Enchanted. And Twice Enchanted are early on super cheap, okay? They are very cheap. They will rise in the price at day 6, 7, 10 when the people start needing or when they want their enchants on their helmets, or want to craft on helmets with their enchant. So yeah, go and do Ulap runs, grab all your chaos that you just gathered and buy some item level 86 helmets, like Roy Bergonaut, Super Circlet, Lion Pelts, Bone helmets, but they are super expensive. But you will hate yourself after getting some Stone Golem nodes or Chaos Golem nodes, carrying and stuff like that, or any decent minion enchantment, and don't have an item level 86 helmet, because on item level 86, Bone helmets or any helm can roll minions have socketed minion gems have +3 levels. So item level 86 is the best for Bone helmets. And mostly the only ones that will sell, by the way. So yeah, but those are super expensive. So just, if you don't have the money for it to just get at least one Bone helmet, don't bother with it. And grabbing all the good unique helmets, like Rhyme Gaze for Vortex players or Creeping Frost, then Abyssus for the melee one, Devotors, just very good early Cyclone helm, Toxic Rain helm, and stuff like that because they are using it in the early game. That will sell a lot. Yeah, grabbing any meta unique helm, and that's it. And run Ulap for profit. I will do this very early on. I think on day 4 or 5 I starting run Ulaps, depending how fast I was with the story or with the campaign, because I'm a very slow progressing player. Yeah, just gathering all your chaos. It also helps you if you're playing with some friends or in a guild and say, hey, can you give me some chaos, or can you buy me those helmets? You will get the money back, or just say you will share the profit with them for helping you to getting the chaos bases, the helmet bases. So yeah, Ulap runs are very good early profit making. Then, if you spam farming harvest, you should always getting some clusters, because meta clusters will help you a lot gaining much profit, because meta clusters sells a shit ton early on and still later on. But meta crafting is always a thing you should do with harvest. looking what's the most played build at the moment, and then grab the classes they need and craft, or grabbing any items they will probably need and craft them via harvest. Meta crafting is always the way to go for making profit, by the way, for big profit, because most of the people just don't want to waste time crafting the gear themselves. They just want to buy the perfect items they will need. And crafting gear yourself is always cheaper, by the way. It's always cheaper. Then, Amethyst Rings. I don't know, I sold like 10 Amethyst Rings this league. Then I stopped crafting Amethyst Rings. And every ring I sold about 2 exalts to 3 exalts. If you have an Amethyst Ring and craft them with harvest on the Chaos rerolls, you will get an Amethyst Ring like plus 40 to plus 60 Chaos res. And if it has some life and some other resistance on it, it will sell a shit ton, okay? Because those rings helps the most builds on fixing their Chaos res. And that's why they are so freaking good. So yeah, grabbing some Amethyst Rings and just do Chaos rerolls on them and sell them for profit. You will get a shit ton out of it. And after you finished, or you have some decent gear, and I started Elder Guardian farming because I haven't played that much with my character, and I'm actually kind of bored of PoE at the moment. At the moment, I am on 1 million damage per ball. And with this, I mean, it's just not... I'm not at the end, right? So my damage is still kind of low in exclamation marks, but it's okay. With 1 million damage, you will have more than enough DPS to kill Elder Guardians, the Elder himself, and the Elder Guardian Maven invitations. So after you reach the threshold about 600k to 1 million DPS per ball, or per projectile, you're able to kill Elder Guardians very easily. And I invested like 20x in my character and can spam farm Cyrus and Elder Guardians. So yeah, Elder Guardian farming is always profit, but you need like 10 exalts to invest in this, because you get onto the Discord and go to the Forbidden Trove over here, and then you type in Elder Guardian, and then we will just buy some Elder and Shaper Guardian maps you will find over here from one guy. So you can see let's do this. Yeah. It's like, I think we paid 20 chaos per Elder Guardian map at the end. But prices are rising every time later on in the league. So yeah, you will pay like, I don't know, 20 chaos for one Elder Guardian map, and you can buy them in bulk prices on the Forbidden Trove Discord. That just was my whole point. So yeah, buying those in bulk, you will need to invest 10 exalts in Elder Guardian maps plus the invitations. You will sustain the invitations after, as you can sustain the Maven invitations, but you will start with at least 4 Maven invitations as a start, and then we will probably sustain them in all of your runs. So yeah, 10 exalts is a lot, I know, but I can tell you, from all those Maven's Rids I got back from the invitation, so the Crescent Splinters, right? And the Orb of Unmakings, because they are dropping in lower, they only drop in 1 stack, not 2 stacks anymore. And people just spamming their Atlas points at the moment, or just reuse them all the time and swapping them like crazy. Those are kinda expensive, like 15 chaos for 1 Orb of Unmaking. And selling them in bulk prices will raise the price always, you know. So like 1 Orb of Unmaking can be like 20 chaos then in a bulk. But yeah, in Orb of Unmakings and Maven's Rids, at the current state of the game, you will get your 10 exalts only back from Maven's Rids and Orb of Unmakings. This means any fragments you're dropping is profit. And in the Maven invitations, you will gonna usually get 1 to 2 fragments plus. Besides the Maven's Writs and other stuff. You will get some item bases. Sometimes you're lucky and hit a good item base, but most of the times you won't. Trust me. And you get a lot of watchstones. So if you're dropping some Valdos watchstones at the moment, I think 1 platinum watchstone sells for like 40 chaos. So watchstones and fragments are big profit makers. And if you run Elder yourself with the Elder node, you have nearly a 50-50 chance to dropping a Watcher's Eye. You can bulk sell Watcher's Eye unidented for like 2 exalts per Watcher's Eye. So you will end up, I did 10 runs. So I did 17 Elder Guardian maps and had like 37 runs from Elder and dropped 20 Watcher's Eyes. Dropping 20 Watcher's Eyes is quite lucky. Normally you should end up like 16. So 16 to 20. And this means I had like, selling those for 2 exalts each means I had 40x in profit. Without watchstones, by the way. So I had only 40x profit. So Elder Guardian farming is really good. You can do this then later on with Shaper Guardians, but Shaper Guardians won't give you that much profit like Elder Guardians, and Shaper as well, because Shaper is just super outdated in his uniques. All uniques are super trash at the current state of the game. Kinda sad, right? But you can then spam from Uber Elder as well for some profit making. But Uber Elder is a bit more of a gamble, I would say. But dropping Watcher's Eye from Uber Elder in bulk will help you a lot. Or you just do it like me and gamble all your 20 Watcher's Eyes and get only 10 exalts back instead of 40 exalts. This is just, yeah. If you're kind of gamble addicted to Watcher's Eye like I am, you don't get the big profit spike. But yeah, our character is a really good boss farmer, and with only 20 exalt investment, you can easily spam farming Uber Elder. And not Uber Elder, but Elder for big money profits. So yeah. And that's it. No. I forgot this one. After you fixed your chaos risk, you can go and farm Cyrus. But Cyrus will still be hard. Don't get me wrong, okay? Cyrus will be hard. If you don't have more than 1 million damage on your ball, then it's very easily. And if you die once, you have a problem. If you die once in the last phase, you will have the problem that Cyrus will start spamming his abilities and will teleport all the time. And then it can get kind of rough to kill Cyrus. I get it. It happens to me a lot. So, what helped me with Cyrus, and after spamming his abilities and teleporting all around, I took the new skill Ambush with me. So Ambush will dash you or will leap you into the enemy or into Cyrus, giving you just a little bit of crit chance and a big critical strike hit. When the first attack will hit very hard, but it's not about the damage multiplier, it's only because it will leap to the enemy. So if you just lost track of Cyrus, you can just use Ambush to leap to Cyrus. And then just finish him, right? So Ambush will help you a lot to keep track of Cyrus. But yeah, that's it for now. You can still do some adjustments to the skill tree. You have so much room for adjustments. Like I forgot to mention the chance to suppress spell damage in this tree. I haven't done it in this tree. I'm very sorry. Normally you should go and do prevent spell damage, like I told you in the other videos. I just forgot about this one. What I did was deskilling this node because the damage wasn't that high of it, not that crazy. Lethality is a better node, and you also don't need to skill lethality if you don't have the levels for it. But if you do, go and skill lethality or any other tanky node, like getting some mana reservations in over here and grab determination with you. go and scale up your block chance and stuff like that. You can go with Divergent Tempest Shield to get more spell block chance due to buff. And it's crazy. You can do so much stuff like at the moment. And there's another thing I want you to share with you, and this one is over here. So we have the Hoba build. But there's some crazy shit, if you just recognize, there's some crazy shit builds going out there playing with Aegis Aurora. So how this builds work, it's a Flicker Strike build, yeah, I know. But how this builds work is going with this node over here. It's Divine Soul, I guess. A Divine Shield. Cannot recover energy shield to above armor. And 3% of physical damage prevented from hits is regenerated energy shield per second. This plus Aegis Aurora that will replenish energy shield by 2% of armor when you block. Plus Cleansing Blows. And this was when I was talking about scaling up your block chance with Cleansing Blows. You will need a very good shield that replenish or recover a lot of life. Then Cleansing Blows is really good. Otherwise, it's totally trash. So what this build does, or this Aegis Aurora build does, is just abusing Cleansing Blows. It will block. You will always block, just 75%, and will get an insane amount of energy shield back. This with Divine Shield and Ghost Reaver and stuff like that, and with armor like 176k with this character that uses Iron Reflexes with Grace and Determination and stuff like that, you're freaking tanky. You can stay AFK and get no damage at all, and you will always be full energy shield. So this is the most broken build at the moment, and of course you can do this with Molten Strike. And Molten Strike is not as fast as Flicker Strike, because this is a Flicker Strike build, but Molten Strike Hoba can do the same shit and has more damage for bossing, but less movement in the clear. But we will have way more damage than the Flicker Strike will have, since we are spamming more projectiles. And you don't go with a shield, cluster. You will go with the Claw cluster and Fan of Blades with one node, and only then Dex and Int. So yeah, going at Oriani's prototype build, by the way, as well, did mentioned, you will have to make any item or scorch any item to minus lightning resistance. Because having minus 200% lightning resistance will shred the enemy hardcore. Because then you will just ignore lightning resistance at all. Because the enemy has no lightning resistance left. So yeah, this is the most broken build. And you can just copy paste this one over here and do the same thing on Juggernaut Molten Strike. You can also just play Molten Strike on a Raider. This will also work. It's just, there's just no difference in between. You will only get more attack speed since we are Juggernaut out of it. And you will need Anomalous Blood Rage for getting the frenzy charges. But yeah, this is just the most broken build. It's super tanky, and you can do the same thing with Juggernaut, with Molten Strike. It's super crazy. It's totally retarded. It's super expensive. Don't get me wrong. The build is super expensive, but it's way more tankier than our live version is. So if you need a more tankier version than we have with live, etc., go this, because Aegis Aurora will be nerfed. It's gonna be hardcore nerfed next league. You won't be able to play this build next league for sure. So if you want to have an insane tanky character that can do everything and spend your whole money into it, go and play an Aegis Aurora build. So yeah. Now, finally that's it. Nearly 40 minutes again. I'm so sorry for all of you that just watched this video to the end. I don't know. Are you bored? But yeah. Thanks for watching. And probably only see you next league, because I think I'm done with this league. I have 100x in my currency stash. I have a headhunter. I have my Quant Former perfectly geared. I can perfectly gear my Molten Strike build or do this build. But yeah, I think I'm kind of done. But so yeah, probably see you in the next league.